Do you think Deadpool 3 could be setting up a Battleworld?
I think Deadpool
is that what we
ends
see?
in Battleworld.
Ends in Battleworld.
I think that Deadpool's currently in the Fox universe, and I think he tries to find Wolverine, and I think in finding Wolverine, he finds dead Logan, and then he goes looking for a living Wolverine. And in doing that, I think he's going to cause all these events that implode all of Fox.
Okay. Welcome back to the break room. There's the same amount of news and the same amount of rumors going around this week, so we're going to cover both. We're going to have a little bit of news, a little bit of rumors, and we're going to make ourselves a show sandwich. We've got Loki Season 2. There's Deadpool 3. There's Aquaman 2. All sorts of stuff to talk about, so let's get into it today. I'm Brandon Barrick. Who cares? Joining me at the table today, we've got Coy Jandreau.
So excited for Deadpool Talks. I hope it is as good as it needs to be to renew my hope and faith in the things to come.
Yes, yes. Coy's having a crisis of faith.
I need this guy to bring it. He started it. I need him to bring it back. First R-rated, like, to scale movie could also be the first R-rated MCU
Apologies
movie.
to Blade.
Apologies to Blade. To scale. 1998, it made
scale.
what? I think 89, $90 million, but on like a $20 million. It was a very meager budget, and that Blade killed. I think Blade we owe more to than even X-Men or Spider-Man, honestly. But,
I mean, Blade owed a lot to the government. Whatever he made, he didn't pay his taxes on it.
Some other
but he's done his time. He's done his time, folks. He's forgiven. Wesley Snipes, I think you've done all your time.
My favorite joke, the break room. That was exceptional.
Oh, thank you, boy. Killing it today.
Enjoyed that.
We also have Evan Yee at the table today. Hello, Evan.
I normally know which camera to look at, and now I don't.
Now you don't. It's pretty fucking hard on this side, isn't it?
There's 4 screens at least. There's a lot of them here.
Yeah.
I'm very excited about lots of the Deadpool stuff as well. One particular rumor, which we'll get into towards the end of the show. So,
yes.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about all these upcoming shows, series, movies, things that are in production, but nothing's in production right now. And why is that? Because there's a strike going on. SAG-AFTRA and the WGA still have their strikes going on. As we do every day, we're here to talk about news. We're here to editorialize. We're here to review. We're not promoting anything. We're not paid by the studios. What we're doing is okay by SAG, and we're going to keep doing it until they say otherwise. So let's get into it today with some headlines. First up, Aquaman 2 teaser is finally here. We got an Aquaman 2 teaser, and they promise us that we're going to get an Aquaman 2 The Lost Kingdom trailer this Thursday. We don't know the time, but we assume in the morning, early in the morning sometime. I found it funny they dropped this teaser during Destination D23 weekend.
Yeah,
that was going on in Orlando. They didn't do a lot of Marvel Studios talk at that event, that Disney event this weekend. We will talk about the little bit they did cover. But I thought it was funny for Warner Brothers to put out a little.
By the way.
Oh, by the way, we have a trailer for a movie that was supposed to come out last year that we're now putting out a year later. We have some cool images from this teaser we wanted to shout out. First, we got Aquaman doing a little undersea riding.
Out of sea
riding of an undersea creature. Like a Dayglow seahorse.
It's like, so intense.
So intense with an octopus
hanging on the side.
Grabbing onto it. I would assume the octopus is the aggressor here. Maybe attacking the seahorse?
Oh, interesting.
Or do you think that was like a...
I think it's like his sidekick.
Oh, like...
I see that as like, let's go
That's a torpedo and you shoot it out?
You're doing like a fastball special with a seahorse and you're bringing Kitty Pryde with you. You got a whole team coming at you.
Well, maybe the seahorse is Kitty Pryde and that's Draco or whatever, the little dragon.
Oh, Lockheed the dragon?
Lockheed.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah,
I want to hear some actual like talking to animals in this one. If they're going that crazy, I want to hear some more than Disney does.
Do you think Aquaman's lying and the animals don't really talk to him and he's just saying like, oh, you won't believe what this guy just
Clickety
said.
click, and it's just like nonsense?
Because if you met a merman, let's say it's real, he proves that he can live underwater and breathe and all that.
I'd buy
and
anything
he says, I'm speaking to the fishes and the aquatic creatures. You'd take him at face value.
I feel like drunk Jason Momoa could convince me he could talk to fish.
Probably.
Like not even the breathing.
He probably
water.
doesn't
like,
talk to fish.
I could buy that just because Momoa's got that like ness. I could totally like. I'm in.
Yeah. Not to get us off track, but we already are off track. Aquaman can speak to the fish.
Yeah.
Sharks, why not? He can speak to whales,
Yep.
dolphins, and porpoises. So can he speak to other mammals? Or do you have to spend?
I mean, he can speak to humans.
Well, thank you.
Accurate. Man's got a point.
I took one comedy class.
Can he speak to land? Can he speak to land-based mammals?
I would assume aqua is the operative word here, and therefore, you know.
Can he speak to frogs?
Yeah, he speaks to a frog and a
Amphibians?
turtle.
Yeah, what's the deal with amphibians? Is it when they're underwater?
Yeah.
Because I know in the like Super Friends, it's like
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
like
yeah. There's it radiates. Maybe he needs the ocean.
Yeah, maybe it could
act
be
as like a.
Yeah, like a conduit.
because I can't think of a lot of comics where they show the waves, but maybe
Yeah.
like there are some, but I don't think of that as being like a prerequisite.
Which is kind of wild because like a shark can't talk to a fish, like an angelfish. They can't talk to each other.
that we know of.
That we.
And was it like, did he Rosetta Stone? Like, did he have to learn?
Right.
Like,
God,
because I know people that speak like 12 languages. That's
Yeah.
a lot to judge. And
Yeah.
juggle.
Also, all of these animals haven't developed their own language. They have a physical language.
Right.
I guess whales and dolphins they squeak.
And did
They're
different
similar.
dolphins have different accents, like regional
Yeah.
dolphins?
Right. They're like, oh, I grew up in the Indian Ocean. I don't understand this Pacific.
Right.
Dialect.
And like
yeah.
North Atlantic, little Boston
yeah.
accent dolphins.
Yeah,
I respect
yeah.
that.
It's got to be something with just water vibrations, right? Just the way that creating some type of like you said, wave that goes through waves. And I mean, there has to be a way he can talk. I don't know. I guess maybe I'm now just picturing like the deep, like talking to all the fish in fish tanks all the time
Yeah.
from the boys. I'm like, does Aquaman do that too? I mean, I'm sure he does.
But I would never question the deep.
No,
Not for a second. Not for a
no,
second.
he's proven it.
He's proven his love for all sea creatures.
Yeah.
We also got this shot of Black Manta 2, who is Black Manta as well. This is Yahya Abdul-Mateen II as Black Manta, who's finally back. Finally, we get to see this character again.
Yeah.
Very excited.
He had a pretty fun line read in the teaser where he was like, I'm going to kill Aquaman. And it was just like, all right, here we go.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. This was definitely one of the more fun movies of the DCEU era.
And Yahya, man, I feel like he's one of those actors that can say
is like-
anything,
yes.
and the gravitas of the actor allows
Right.
any dialogue to work. And I think Patrick Wilson has a similar thing where he can be like,
Yeah.
I am the Ocean Master,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
sure, Ocean Master, I'm in.
Yeah.
But Yahya, I think, can allow that, like, Super Friends 60s dialogue to work. I think him as Black Manta is really good casting. I think when we found out the Trench was going to be a Black Manta movie, it was way more devastating than just losing a James Wan Trench movie. But
Right.
tying in that element. So I'm
Yeah.
hoping some of that script got kind of turned into this. I'm hoping
Yeah.
there's like a sizable chunk of Black Manta because I think Yahya well deserved he should lead one of these. So I'd like to
Yes.
see that.
Well, yeah, I guess on the topic of the trench, actually, Dashiell, could you skip to the other question with, not the question, picture with the creature first? Then we'll go back to the machine. But is this something from the trench? Because this happens really fast in the teaser, and we see obviously creatures from the trench in the first movie. I remember, we see parts of that. So I was like, is this somebody? And then so we have this like mirror lady type person. Then there's another creature as well. I don't know if we still have that one. But
the trench creatures were very. Oh, that's more. Yeah, they were very angular.
This
and
looks
they're long.
evil.
Yeah, that's intense. That's a bad.
What if it's just friendly and it just has a bad look, you know?
You can't judge
It's
a
like
dragon
people,
by its
people
cover.
go off on snakes and spiders because we're like scared of them, you know, but they're friendly creatures.
A lot of them eat a lot of bad bugs. I like spiders eat like cockroaches
Oh,
and
yes,
mosquitoes
yes,
and stuff.
yes.
Like I save
They
spiders.
eat the bad bugs.
Yeah.
They eat the bad bugs.
But I would love if the trench script got folded in. That'd make me happy.
yeah. Someone in the chat, Marcos Mustache was a great username, is saying that that's his mom. Is that Nicole Kidman plays his mom, right? The first one?
Yeah, does that?
Does that look like her? I don't know. Let's see it again. Maybe?
Can she say,
I guess
Heartbreak
it
does
must
feel
be.
good.
yeah,
Trench.
can she say that? She's got a, she's royalty. She's got a crown.
Yeah,
Some
maybe.
sort of headpiece.
Okay.
I wouldn't have clocked that, but maybe.
Yeah,
Definitely
yeah,
distorted.
Could be just like a weird angle.
Yeah.
That whole
I've
character
seen her
though,
clap.
could be CG. That whole thing could be CG. Like,
Yeah, I'm sure it is. And I'm really curious.
Do you
what
think
they-
she spent any time in a water tank, Nicole?
No.
Can you submerge Nicole underwater after midnight? I don't know. Is it safe?
just multiply?
Yeah.
That's where Naomi Watts came from.
Is it safe?
They did it once.
Did it once,
Naomi
let's do it
Watts.
again, goddammit. Apologies to Nicole Kidman. If you're watching. We love you. We love your
We
work.
love you very much. Appreciate it.
Keep up the great work. We also have this shot of is described as a mechanical thing grabbing orm.
That's what I described it as. I wasn't sure if it had like any comic precedent, but I don't think it does.
It's just there's a lot of like that George Perez era mechanics where it's just like this really intense, highly detailed. It looks like it's from a time in comics, but I don't recognize the specific style of it.
Is he part of like Black Manta's like tech? Is that something that he would like have a hand in creating?
I feel like he wouldn't make it yellow.
Yeah, right.
So I feel like that's Ocean Masters, if that's anyone's, because it looks like he's going to be trying to take over again.
Yeah,
I'm curious if Black Manta and Ocean Master see like enemy friend, like if that becomes a thing. I could see them teaming up against Aquaman.
Yeah, I think there was also something. I think James Wan described it, and we'll get into more buddy comedies later. But like as Patrick Wilson and Jason Momoa like teaming up for this one, which is interesting. Yeah,
because at one point I heard the villain was global warming, like the idea.
Oh, the idea. Of,
so maybe.
Oh yeah, they did float that.
Remember that?
That like little news item.
So maybe it's Aquaman, Black Manta, and Ocean Master against billionaires.
Shouldn't they love global warming though?
More ocean.
More ocean.
A lot of death.
yeah.
But more ocean.
Let the ocean win. Just Aquaman buying as much aerosol spray as he can.
That hair.
Calling out to the octopodi to just grab aerosol cans and hold them down. Like, we gotta release the fluorocarbon. We gotta release it.
To the drumming scene, it's just aerosol can octopus.
So, the ice cap's melting and putting more water, I believe the water that's frozen.
More science. I'm just like,
more science.
This is on tape.
Yeah. Hey, do your own research, folks. The ice caps, the water in them is either, this is going to cover everything, has more salt or less salt than our current oceans, right?
Okay.
And you're going to like, what? It's less salt.
Less
Thank
salt.
you, Dashiell. So we're going to put more.
So we're diluting the ocean.
We're diluting the ocean.
Yeah. Oh,
and
interesting.
It's slowing down the ocean.
Also,
I talked about this
temperature-wise,
last week. I guess I'm talking about it.
People die. Like animals are dying from the heat.
Yeah,
so I imagine
it's killing off
wouldn't love
coral
that.
reefs. Like the heat of the rising temperature of the oceans is killing off coral reefs at like an expanded rate. It's very dangerous. So yes, they hate it. They hate global warming.
So maybe they just played this movie that had all the walkouts like in South Texas.
Maybe.
Like everybody's like, I'm leaving this movie, but we don't know where they played it.
Maybe this could help, and they could say like, listen, we're not saying that man created global warming. We're not saying that, folks. It's these men in the ocean that created global warming. We gotta stop them. They're the problem.
Support that. If it gets things done.
If it gets legislation passed.
Patrick Wilson did global warming.
Yeah. The gamer MJ here is saying the synopsis is out. It says that Black Manta is relentless in his revenge. He wields the mythic Black Trident, and Aquaman has to team with Orm to defeat Black Manta to save the world and Atlantis from complete and utter destruction. Interesting. Could play into that.
I hate the like. It's the Black Trident to go up against this Trident. It's just gonna be anything else.
You're a tech guy. Like he designs stuff. Why would he like design a Trident?
Yeah.
Also, we had like no real payoff with the Black Manta build-up, and I don't love that. Like the build-up equals like I'm gonna copy you.
I know.
Like I feel like he's better than that.
I mean, do we bring Yaya over into the MCU?
I think he's Wonder Man.
Oh, that's right. He is cast.
Yeah.
Wonder Man.
So that I think
if
he's
that gets
deserving of a
finished.
leading role. So I'd love to see him lead something and then become like a West Coast Avenger leader. I'd love to see him playing with that like commentary on superstardom in the MCU, kind of like we have with Trevor Slattery. I'd love to see like actors within the MCU. That'd be fun because he's a superhero actor.
Yeah.
I think it has potential to be really good, but I don't know if we'll ever.
We brought up this question before, and we've chatted about it. About like, this idea of the celebrityfication of the superheroes in the MCU, which they've not really addressed in any meaningful way. It's like, who's getting the residuals for like all the merch, right? Does Captain America get a slice of it? Does any of that stuff, right? We saw like an Avengers con. Who is paying?
So there's a great thing in the
stuff?
comics where after the Avengers do really well, like the Avengers movies, Deadpool came out and did really well, but in the comics, Deadpool owns his likeness, so he was funding the Avengers. So like Deadpool had more money than Tony Stark, so he started funding the Avengers in the comic books. I'd love to see some commentary on like Wonder Man, and like figuring all that.
I think we did speculate that
some
like
profiteering.
Yeah.
Like the U.S. military would own Captain America stuff, right? Because they created him, and even the Avengers con we see in Miss Marvel took place at a military base.
Yeah, and
so
War
it's like
Machine,
they're making money off of this stuff.
War Machine is for sure,
stuff.
and that was a talk.
Hawkeye,
about
he was a
military
government.
Yeah.
I don't know if Black Widow is technically
Thor
was she
was, like,
knighted
hired
into the government.
They tried to get Thor to join. Remember, like that whole first movie was him trying to be like brainwashed into military stuff. It'd be interesting if the Avengers are just like
I bet Nick
on the
Fury's
payroll.
Fury's keeping the money, dude.
Yeah, he's just
He can afford tombstones all around the world that have magical.
Well, that was one of the conversations. The Ultimates was about like the idea that the government had control, and like that's what a lot of this is based off of visually. So it'd be interesting if we get into that element. And like I'd love if Phase 5, 6, like we get into a world that hates and fears them. What if we find out the government's been paying for all this? So all the death is on the government. All 177 deaths are on the government's shoulders.
They are. Any more Aquaman 2 stuff you want to talk about?
Yahya Abdul-Mateen should lead a lot lot more franchise. If you get a look at the guy's resume, it's like hit after hit. Like the guy's only
he was
done
in that
incredible
Watchmen
stuff. Watchmen is genius.
Yeah.
Great.
He was so good in Trial of Chicago 7. He's incredible, and he can do like Sorkin dialogue. He can do really dramatic cheese. He can do everything. So
do you think this movie will? Are they going to address what universe they're in? Are we still in the DCEU?
EWARR, with all underscores in between each letters, was asking the same thing. Will this be a part of the old DC or James Gunn DC? I think
it has to be a part of the old.
Right? Yeah, because it's these characters tie into the first movie. It's a sequel to a DCEU film, which takes place between DCEU things. I think this is going to be the unceremonious end without like really closing it.
They won't even acknowledge it, probably.
Unless they did another round of reshoots.
I mean, they did one as recently as like just before the actors strike. They did another round of reshoots, but I think that
we don't know what cameos to expect.
I think at this point they're probably, if I was Warner Brothers, would just be like, cut your losses, just make this something really fun that people can watch, because the first Aquaman did so well because it is just like fully committed to the CGI thing, and it's just a ton of fun. It's just all ocean violence or whatever.
Any article you read about Aquaman 2, The Lost Kingdom, will bring up the fact the first one made $1 billion internationally, and then they immediately have a line right after it that's like, but the box office landscape looks very different now.
Asterisk.
Like, oh boy. Just be kind to my man, Jason Momoa. They made him wait a whole ass year.
It's also like 99 days till release, and we've just gotten a teaser for the first time. There's like
going to be a long crawl, and they'll probably push it back again. I don't know.
Yeah. Do you think they're just like every day, just like flipping coins? Like, all right, what do we release? Do we not? Do we release? Do we not?
Zaslav's a coin boy. That's what I hear. He's just flipping coins every day. He doesn't know what to do. Making terrible decisions. It's mostly what he's doing.
He's got a two-faced coin. Both are bad decisions.
They're both bad decisions. Boy. Oh boy.
Hence, we canceled Batgirl. They're both heads.
I'm just excited to see what they'll even do in this movie.
Yeah.
Like what could possibly happen in this movie. I say have at the end, have it just be like, every character from the DCEU rides up on a seahorse. They play the Paul Walker music, and they all just ride off into different directions.
It's been a long day.
Henry Cavill on a seahorse, Gal Gadot on a seahorse. You have Ezra Miller, but the face is blurred out, pixelated. They don't even show it. You get
the person who
Ray Fisher's back.
Yeah, a bunch of different.
Amy Adams is there. Yeah, a bunch of different Batman.
George Clooney next to Christian Bale next to.
Robert Pattinson just calls in on FaceTime. He's like, I can't be there. Sorry.
I'm in another universe. I can't make it.
Yeah.
My universe is fine. You got animated, My Adventures with Superman's there.
Yeah, he's there.
Just have a fucking wacky ending. Just blow our minds.
At this point, why not?
It would be so much fun.
We've never had a shared universe end. Talk about that all the time. Like we had the Monster Universe start at Universal.
Right.
We've had these universes fail. We've never had a shared universe end. Why not go nuts?
Right.
Yeah.
Just go nuts. Just go nuts.
Do a mini Infinite Crisis right before the credits.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Just do it. Or like maybe Aquaman finds a big plug hole at the bottom of the ocean. He pulls it out. Everyone gets sucked into it.
It ends with Aquaman like looking at us, and then there's someone drawing the last frame of a comic.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
closes
do
the
something
book.
weird.
Just like, do it. Why not? Roger Rabbit it up. I don't care.
That's all, folks. That was a bad Roger Rabbit. Okay. Let's talk about Loki season 2. Okay. We got a new image of Kuei Kwan's OB from Entertainment Weekly. There it is there. Doesn't it look like... I'm just now thinking Tom Hiddleston and Owen Wilson looks kind of photoshopped in there, but... Yeah, I think it's just the lighting. I think
it's a forced perspective because it's like a fisheye lens and the lighting. So I think that like opaque.
Yeah, and I was rewatching the introduction, the first trailer where they introduced Obi for the first time. I was like, oh, maybe this shot is here, but I forgot that he comes down in that floating chair.
He comes down.
Thing.
He's the guy in the chair.
Yeah, he's the guy in the chair.
Very much canon, the guy in the chair.
Yeah.
We also, along with the image, we got a quote from executive producer Kevin Wright, who said OB's job is basically every piece of tech, every computer, everything that is running at the TVA. He either designed it or he fixes it and keeps it running. which I think is an interesting quote, especially that we know that, as far as we know now, everyone at the TVA is a variant of someone. And it makes me wonder if this is someone that Victor Timely meets early on in his life. He meets some sort of like technological genius who maybe helps him build that weird device we see in the trailer, right?
Oh yeah, we have the picture, I think, right, of Mobius holding the this.
Oh, okay. Well, then you have that device there that Mobius is holding, which that looks like what OB was working on in that new image.
Yes. Oh, sorry.
Pieces of that. But I'm wondering if like the prime version of OB, right, is someone who Victor Timely met and he took a variant of because he was like a genius. So that he could keep him in the TVA and help him build all this stuff. Because why have only one person building all the tech in the TVA?
Or maybe he's not a variant, and he's like one of the only people.
Oh, he's a real
is
person.
The real person, and Victor meets him before they because someone had to help him build the TVA.
That's why
so maybe
someone had to help him build the Time Lord
and all the tech.
Right, yeah.
So if he's tech, then maybe he's an original, and that's why they can only have him do it because he's not diluted.
Yeah.
He's not diluted.
He's not like a clone of
The variants aren't diluted. They're just as important as the primes.
All variants matter.
All variants matter. We can't just kill them off. We can't just prune them willy-nilly. They deserve a life. They deserve to live.
But I think it's going to be interesting because there's so much tech in that world that we're seeing, the TVA imploding. I mean, I talked about it way back, like 2 months ago when we first got Loki footage that I think Deadpool isn't going to be in this, but I think the events of this lead to Deadpool. I think that something happens with the TVA here involving technology that leads to the insanity that is the Deadpool stuff.
Well, save that. We're going to talk some Deadpool stuff a little later in the show. But now that we're even talking about it even more, all the tech that we see at the TVA has a very like 70s kind of vibe to it. So maybe OB came from the 70s.
Yeah.
Like, that's what all he knows is like that tech. And that's why they use that kind of like late 70s, early 80s aesthetic on everything.
That makes sense. I'd like that.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. And then if he's a variant or not, maybe they like find another version of him too when they go back in time. Yeah, it could be really interesting to see how they play with that.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. So as I mentioned earlier in the show, there was Destination 23 this weekend in Orlando, Florida, which is Disney's big convention that they do for themselves. And they mostly focused on park stuff. Lots of exciting park news, folks. But they did have a little Marvel Studios panel. I hesitate to even call it a panel. I don't think there was like a lot of people there or anything as far as like on the stage. And they mainly talked about projects we already know about, but they did show some footage, the first 10 minutes of episode 1 of Loki. Now, they haven't released that, so I'm going to explain to you a little bit of what they showed. And Eric Voss is working on a video that'll come out tomorrow that will talk a little bit more about this on the new Rockstars channel. But so apparently the season opens with Mobius chasing Loki throughout the TVA. No one recognizes Loki, which is kind of interesting. We kind of saw that at the end of season 1. Loki tries to escape Fifth Element style. Everyone knows that style by jumping onto the back of some kind of flying taxi. We've seen those flying ships in the TVA and all that. They hit the statue of Kang, then crash into the TVA. He glitches through time, Loki that is, and Casey recognizes him. Loki realizes he's going back and forth in time. And now this part I found really interesting. So there was a version of the TVA in the past where Kang openly ruled them and no one remembers. Something happened to cause Kang to hide behind the Timekeeper's facade. So that is interesting because, when we've talked about the end of season 1 a lot, it's been that like, oh, Loki returns to a TVA that's been changed by Kang. But now that we know that Loki is like time slipping, he's moving through time, maybe he didn't come back to a completely new universe. He came back to just a different point in time.
Yeah.
He's now before he ever got to the TVA, and it's like an older version of the TVA.
Yeah.
The TVA just kind of resets. Very Matrix.
Yeah, I was thinking the Matrix
where
earlier,
you
like,
just keep
it's
running
easier
it
if they're
over and
under
over
control.
again. They just keep the same 20 years on a loop or whatever.
Yeah.
Living it over and over again. Which I think will be that could be a very interesting concept, and I think it kind of helps rather than explaining that like, oh, when they killed He Who Remains, everything changed back here. It's more that like, no, your weird things caused you to start moving through time.
Yeah. So then like seeing that like diversion or whatever, or at the end, or incursion rather, at the end of season 1, that could mean like this is the moment where He Who Remains is about to take power, right? Like, what if Loki is being pulled? He's pulled back now into a time before He Who Remains, like, had the forethought to be like, no, I'll hide it from the thing.
Right. Yeah. Maybe Kang openly running the TVA was made their universe too obvious, and he wasn't able to hide from the other Kangs.
The whole point is that these people didn't know they were all variants. So it's clearly like ignorance is bliss, like the Matrix. So they
didn't know they were variants, and they didn't know Kang was in charge.
Right.
In charge of everything.
So something must have happened with that version that didn't suffice for that.
One of the variants like snitched on the other Kangs. It was like, hey, he's in here.
I mean, in the comics, the Kangs fight a lot. Yeah. So I'd be really curious to see the Kangs, going at it in this. If Victor Timely fights another Kang, if we meet the actual Kang in this, because I refuse to accept that Ant-Man Kang is the ultimate Kang.
He's the dumbest Kang. I think that's better.
It's one line of dialogue they could have fixed that movie. They could have just said like he was so arrogant to think he was the strongest of us, when in fact he was taken down.
I think it's fairly obvious he's the dumbest Kang. That's why he's stuck in the quantum realm.
Yeah, I think they
can't figure it out.
Line of dialogue.
Yeah. He was like, I
don't
know how to get out of this place. Beto, do you know how to get out of here?
No.
No, Gravik, I can't leave.
We can't do that.
Poor Beto. R.I.P. Beto. Yet another character who died needlessly on Secret Invasion.
Truly.
So that was some of the footage they showed. Hopefully they'll put it out. They don't always like to put out those long clips ahead of a show. And I think there's a lot of hype for Loki.
Yeah, I don't know if they need to.
I don't think they need to do it so much, but
October 6th, that's what, like 4 weeks away?
Yeah. Wow.
So it's
years
quick.
flying by.
Yeah, dude.
Holy
it is October.
Wait, it's still September. Let's not say the O word yet, okay?
But yeah, when you think in terms of release dates, when your life becomes around, you're like,
you get ahead of yourself.
Quarter 4 is in 3 weeks, guys.
We're time slipping here.
Just saying, if you go to CVS, there's a lot of Christmas stuff popping up.
no.
Just warning you.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Deep Halloween's already at Target and whatnot. Christmas is like they're putting the little like end caps on. When the end caps go up, it's just a sneeze away from the whole aisle.
Yeah.
That's so
and this is Christmas 2025.
Yeah, they're prepared.
They're way ahead.
That's when Aquaman
They're way
comes
ahead. Poor Lost Kingdom. Poor Lost Kingdom. Hey, speaking of Lost Kingdoms,
How aptly named.
would you like to recapture your glory? Well, why not check out nerdriot.shop? Yeah, we're still plugging these great Star Wars shirts we have there in honor of Ahsoka. Oh, who's this character?
It's Ahsoka.
That's Ahsoka. Which one?
Oh yeah, which one?
Which one's Ahsoka? Do you know?
I'm gonna have to go with the one with the blue hair thing.
That's not hair. Those are leakies.
Yeah.
Leakies, and the little horns at the top are mandrels.
Yes.
So I've been told. Yeah, check out that awesome shirt. We also have like a cool like Sabine shirt. Oh, I lost it. Oh, here it is. And a bunch of other designs at the shop, nerdriot.shop. It's a great way to support the network and all the good work we're doing here. We're loving Ahsoka. We were just talking about it before the show started. So much fun. I thought I was sick of lightsabers and didn't want to see them. I was an Andor boy. Apologies to Andor. Loved it. No magic. Just bureaucracy and guns. But now that the magic's back, I kind of like it. It's fun to go back.
I think it's good to
have both. It's good to have both.
Yeah, that way you get excited about sabers again.
And if you haven't checked out Ahsoka, they haven't gone to Tatooine once yet. They probably will. They'll probably spend 3 full episodes on fucking Tatooine. And we'll get to see sand again. We'll get to see another town called Mos something else. It'll just be so thrilling. We'll have so much fun. But we're not there yet. But check out all the great merch. You can find our nerdriot.shop and support the network.
Yeah. And a quick shout out to
give us some shout outs.
Everyone who subbed today.
Oh!
Storm Cutie, Alicia VP 16, Rodney Clays, thanks for the subs and the bits. Rosso Games, Baggerly, Carrie Bassan, and Ewar.
Oh my gosh.
Thanks everybody.
Wow.
Yeah.
The subs. Is it because Evan's on camera?
Oh boy.
Is this a subathon?
I can't.
Do we put Evan on for 24 hours
Always
straight?
Evan.
Do a subathon?
Oh yeah, 24-hour stream. John and I have been talking about it.
Ew,
Think about it.
I will not do that.
I mean, you don't have to be on for the full 24 hours.
It'd be like a relay race.
Yeah, yeah.
I want to go
inside
early
out.
before people start smelling bad.
That's fair. People could hopefully shower between their hours.
Let's talk about Deadpool. Deadpool 3. What's the subtitle of Deadpool 3? Make a guess.
The claws are out.
The claws are out?
It's not bad.
It's not great either.
I mean, I remember they said Wolverine and Deadpool at one point, and then they crossed out Wolverine and made it Deadpool. Like, so I could see there being like a buddy cop title.
Yeah. They never gave a subtitle to
Deadpool 2.
Deadpool 2, so It probably
It's just
reached the
Deadpool
best
3.
one.
I just think it'll be the claws.
I think there's been history of like a movie doing 1, then 2, and then adding a weird title for 3. I think that's because wasn't it Blade 1, Blade 2, and then Blade Trilogy?
Yeah.
Blade 2 didn't have like a weird name. I don't think. So they skipped right to trilogy. It wasn't like a subtitle.
X-Men,
like,
X2, X-Men Last Stand.
Well, X-Men 2 was X-Men United.
Oh,
it was
that's
X2,
right.
X-Men United.
Yeah, I forgot they're United.
Yeah.
I was about to say they did that for Thor, and I forgot the Dark World.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
Just
okay.
completely.
Yeah.
Thor the Dark World. Thor the Dark World. Yeah, X-Men 3 was subtitled Ratner's Lament, I believe. Was what it was called.
I'm so glad I wasn't drinking water. I would have definitely done a spit take.
Yeah. Let's talk about Deadpool 3. While he was promoting All the Light We Cannot See for Netflix at TIFF, Deadpool 3 director Sean Levy was, of course, asked about Deadpool 3, which I'm sure he loved talking about at his other junction about World War II. Can't we have some peace? He's trying to tell a sad story about World War II. You people are bugging him about Deadpool 3. But here's what he had to say. He said they were halfway through filming and they're now paused. Good job.
And that goes against all
for
the
not
reports.
violating SAG and WGA rules.
Everyone was like, they started filming 2 weeks ago. How did they already wrap? Remember there was all those reports that Deadpool was going to wrap in like a day away?
Yeah.
Remember everybody thought it was like 2 days out from wrapping? I was like, there's no way.
no way.
No way. So it's good to hear it's halfway.
Yeah.
And that also makes more sense that they were able to film some with the writer's strike.
Right.
Because then you're
Right.
filming coverage, you're filming big, like,
Well, there was-
all the
yeah.
ensemble. And then you have all the cameo stuff that you could film
Right.
before. And then all the stuff that's going to be ad-libbed, you can film when the writers are allowed to.
Yeah.
The writers went on strike first. If you don't remember your striking history, and there was like reports that like they're still shooting, but Ryan Reynolds cannot improvise because he can't do any writing. So it's like he can only shoot what's in the script. And that was when the leaks came out of Hugh Jackman in the yellow suit.
Yeah.
And the theory was that like because they were rushing so much to get that film, they didn't have time to like really secure the set.
Yeah.
And, like, that's how a lot of that stuff was able to leak out because they were
Yeah.
like really rushing. There's also they probably wanted it to leak out. It was great press for them.
Yeah. On
I
the
also-
heels
I
of
mean-
Secret Invasion,
Yeah.
right?
And the long sleeve, like, Hugh Jackman saves him because I worry about that dude, like, keeping in shape for
Right.
9 months. Like, that's
Staying
insane.
hydrated.
Well, yeah, you get to dehydrate so much to be that vascular, and the guy's like 50-something. I just want to be able to eat a steak.
That's a good point. That like, he has to keep that body during the strike.
That's insane.
That would be rude.
Because, like,
That
Ryan
would be
Reynolds
rude.
he's super shredded, but
sure.
he can, like, exist in the bodysuit.
Yeah,
Whereas,
yeah.
like, if they were comic accurate, no sleeves, that guy has to stay,
He'd
like,
have to
4%
stay
body
ripped.
fat at
He'd have to
60.
stay ripped.
That's not fair.
Sean Levy also said there's a ton of chemistry between Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, which makes sense. They go back a long way. They've helped each other's brands grow, which is disgustingly capitalistic, but God bless them. They've been doing that. So they have a long history of working together, and of course they get along great. Sean Levy said he loves the Deadpool character, and Deadpool 1 is a perfect movie, he said.
I agree.
Perfect movie.
Deadpool 1 is...
Sean Levy, if you don't know, he's got quite a resume. He's directed a ton of movies all over the place, and also like comic book stuff. He directed that like Birds of Prey show.
Yeah.
They did on the CW like in 2002. Like he's been in it for a long time.
And also Stranger Things.
Stranger Things.
Stranger Things, and he said he's going to be directing more Stranger Things in
Right.
his next season. He of course did Real Steel with Hugh Jackman.
Which is
He's worked with Jackman before.
It should not be as good as it is. That's one of those, like, how is that movie so exceptional? It is a sock and bop robots movie that is like Rocky.
Would you say
Yeah.
it's a perfect movie?
It's not nothing's perfect except Deadpool 1.
Deadpool 1's a perfect
Deadpool
movie.
1.
John Levy also said that Deadpool 3 is still very much R-rated. They went to great lengths to not shoot it on sound stages and digital environments, which again, that's how that footage
stuff
leaked.
leaked, yeah.
He also worked with Ryan Reynolds on some recent movies. He worked on The Atom Project and Free Guy were
Yeah.
things he directed.
And I think the
Ryan
first
Reynolds.
movie's strength is it being as practical as it is. So I like the idea
The
of
first
shooting it-
Deadpool?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it had like, no budget. So I love the idea of going back to that
Right.
as much as you can for this third one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's great. And I think I like the first one better than the second one.
Personally,
Yeah.
same.
It feels great. It's a good character building movie. Sean Levy compares Deadpool 3 to other kind of like buddy comedy action movies like Midnight Run, 48 Hours, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. So yeah, it's going to be like a fun buddy comedy. How will these two personalities get along?
Yeah. Does that also imply like the Planes, Trains, Automobiles that it's like one of them is dragging the other through like a long journey.
Yeah, I think it just really emphasized all those movies, like a good buddy cop, buddy comedy, buddy road movie. You have two personalities that don't get along that are forced to be together, right? And it would make sense that, you know, Deadpool and Wolverine don't get along, right?
Yeah.
They're both wisecrackers, but
in different ways.
Yeah. Wolverine doesn't like the silliness. You know, he's a stoic,
Will not
serious
sanction his
man.
buffoonery.
Yes, he will not sanction his buffoonery. To quote Tommy Lee Jones to Jim Carrey, he will not sanction his buffoonery.
If he says that at some point in the movie, I'd be so happy.
Wait,
where's that
what a
from?
joke just for us. There was a dinner, so halfway through filming Batman Forever, Jim Carrey like ran into Tommy Lee Jones at dinner, and he went over to say hi, and apparently he like got just rage, and then he's like, what? And he's like, I will not sanction your buffoonery.
Yeah.
Like while they were filming together.
Oh
It was like
my
this
God.
legendary moment while filming that Jim Carrey found out that like Tommy Lee Jones hates him.
That is wild.
He said, I will not sanction your buffoonery, which
Oh
is the
my
most Tommy
gosh.
Lee Jones thing
Yeah.
to say. It's beautiful.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So Deadpool 3 will. Sean Levy didn't say this, right? We're just assuming this. Did he say it would be delayed?
No. So
Okay.
basically, yeah, based on, you know, what he's saying, like, it really feels like there's no way they're going to make their May 3rd release date. May 3rd of 2024.
That's the current release date
there's no
for
way.
Deadpool 3.
It got moved up when I think things were going like ahead of schedule, and they needed something to fill that date when they had to move. What did they
Blade.
move? Blade.
Blade, yeah.
And now I think it's understood that.
Everything's gonna get pushed back.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think everyone should expect.
And they're gonna
next year
stop
to be
making
Deadpool.
those announcements until this strike is over, I think.
I think they should stop dating things.
Well, yeah.
I think that Marvel needs to
Yeah.
go like, well, we got some movies, and like stop saying it's here and here.
Yeah.
Like maybe have those untitled Marvel property, whatever. But like you really, it's not helping the brand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really, I mean, and at this point, like, do you think it's going to, I mean, I feel like the relationship with the audience now is very interesting. Do you think they're going to release things like quote unquote out of timeline order more often because of the strikes? Like, they have a bunch of TV shows banked up, and we know that a lot of release dates have changed and some stuff have been taken off the calendar. And things can be finished or things can't be finished based on the strikes, but like, does it matter? You know, like at this point, like, what do you think they're going to value more, like the relationship with the fans or just like getting stuff out for the sake of getting it out?
I think if at this stage, anything they haven't started production on, that the shows that they've shot, which you're talking about, you know, Agatha, Darkhold Diaries,
Darkhold, yeah.
Formerly
Third
Covenant.
title. Yeah.
I still like Covenant of Chaos better. And Ironheart, which we understand to be mostly shot, maybe not finished on the post side. They showed footage at last year's D23 of Ironheart. So they're
Looks
probably
great.
pretty far along in that. And they, you know, they were pretty big on the idea that like this kind of the multiverse saga gets more into magic and technology. So both Agatha and some of the characters they're introducing on that show and Ironheart are supposed to be important for what's going on forward from here. But they have not begun shooting a lot of their back end phase 7 movies, right?
I mean, what I would do, and
Phase 6, phase 7. When does this end? Phase 7, phase 6.
Phase 6.
Yeah.
It's
Phase
2
6.
sets of 3, I think. What I think.
4, 5, and 6. Yeah.
I hate to say it, but I think that because of COVID and now because of the strike, enough has been ruined with timing.
Ruined.
I mean, like.
Yeah.
Ruined. Like, there's been enough
Right.
bad will with fans that have lost some faith that I think arguably they should try to acknowledge that there are discrepancies, maybe make Secret Wars about the fact that different timelines have been going at the same time. Like the end of Spider-Man landing in the exact tree that Hawkeye happened, and then it not being a moment that combined
Right,
makes me think that we are seeing multiple universes at once. I think there's a reason we haven't heard about the Celestial. I think there's a reason, I mean, we heard it mentioned once, but like that's it. So maybe we're already seeing multiple universes. What I would do is have all of that collide in Kang Dynasty and Secret War, and then clean slate it and have your Fantastic Four and X-Men be the Phase 7 and like go forward with them post Secret War, maybe introduce them in Secret War and have them be like heroes that help. But I think you kind of gotta get rid of this continuity that you couldn't have predicted this many
Right,
variables.
right.
I think
Yeah.
they had a very clear plan, like the America Chavez bringing in Spider-Man and Doctor Strange, like
Right.
all these ideas that didn't work out, not their fault, but now it's kind of like it's too many weird errant loose ends.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, this is like Jay's theory too. Jay is like also like the multiple universes at the same time. And the more that like he talks about it and you talk about it, like to me, I like it is plausible. Like I feel like there is at least some, maybe if not every property, but like groups of properties now are like taking place in different universes or whatever, and it would be crazy. And I think like to your point about moving forward with X-Men and Fantastic Four, it feels like now the audience or the general movie-going audience, right? Not the big comics fans or like the big like nerd culture fans, are just like confused about what to watch, how to start, what is this, and even Avengers movies aren't like, oh, but there's no Captain America, there's no, you know, core group of Avengers right now. It does feel like they need like, okay, if I show up at this movie, I'm going to get at least 4 people who I understand what their relationship is with each other, and then they can have guest appearances, but like it'll be a way for like to get back just people who want to go out to see like a fun movie and not be like, what am I missing?
Because there's also just a volume issue. You could do a marathon of phase 1 through 3 in a few days, and now you cannot do phase 4 in a few days. Like just phase 4 would take longer than phase 1 through 3.
Yeah.
And so like if you're trying to keep up with everything, it's not possible for there's no way to be a casual fan if you're going to tie it in together as much as you'd need to. And I do think because of all the variables, it would just be cleaner to have that variable be like different universes and then clean slate it. And I hate that because I feel like there was a plan. And like now there can't be. And like that sucks to throw out a 10-year plan, but it's like unless there's some ace in the hole, it feels like the way to do it.
Yeah. They'll figure something out.
I feel like they keep trying. And they keep
trying, you know.
I want it to be some secret thing that we're like, oh my god, I never thought of that. Like I'd love that.
Call up Bob Iger and say like, hey, let's pay our writers and our actors and let's get this movie.
Get them writing.
As we mentioned, this is still going to be an R-rated movie, but this will be in the MCU, the MCU's first official R-rated movie.
Right.
How Disney-fied do you think this movie is going to feel? Now, one thing that I do love is like as soon as Marvel was bought by by Disney, suddenly we got way more Disney references.
Oh yeah,
right. The I've got no strings in
first movie.
Avengers: Age of Ultron. Peter Quill calling Yondu Mary Poppins. Like we get Disney references all the time now. How do you think Deadpool might like literally call it out by name? I mean, there's already the set footage.
Yeah, the
set
20th
photos
century
of the 20th Century Fox logo. Like, is he gonna accost Mickey Mouse? Is that gonna happen? Like, how much Disney will we see in this?
I think a decent amount. I think that Ryan Reynolds wouldn't have agreed to do this movie unless he had that freedom to do what he wants. And I feel like, there's a reason we went through a lot of different writers. I think he was trying to find the right story within the Disney confines. And, it was a week after D23 that he released that video with him and Hugh Jackman, meaning they probably wanted it to be a big D23 announcement, but Ryan Reynolds was like, no, my contract says that maximum effort marketing is running this.
Right.
So I feel like him running a marketing company, him being such a good businessman, him having all of this, we haven't seen anyone with this kind of clout at Disney and Marvel since Downey.
Yeah.
So, I feel like he's got power, and that means, he's going to come out the mouse, and I'd love that.
Yeah.
And even then, barely, because Downey made his comeback via Iron Man.
That's, yeah.
So he's still playing. He was still playing I'm gonna be for the home team or whatever. Not like Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, he didn't have and I don't think either of them would use it negatively. But I do think that Downey, they had a contract for all the other actors except his grandfather Dan, and he was like, I'd like to buy another island, please. They haven't let that happen since. But they know how important Deadpool is, so it's like, I'd like to buy another island with me and Blake, please. And I think that's going to be a very important part of the humor, and I think that's going to save Marvel in a lot of ways, because I think there is a certain element of okay, we've had a rough couple phases, let's have some tongue-in-cheek self-awareness of it. I think he might make fun of Ant-Man and Love and Thunder. I think he might be self-aware to the point where that'll help. Also, if this cleans up Fox continuity, which I'm pretty sure it is, then this sets a good precedent of, okay, the universe now makes sense to clean up old continuity just in time for Secret Wars to get rid of all this Marvel continuity.
Yeah. Yeah, and you can go back to a lot of other failed Disney franchises. Be like, hey, John Carter of Mars, dude, let's go. Great. Dick Tracy,
who was also Gambit in his movie where he's introduced. Right. Opportunity there.
Rocketeer, get over here. We're gonna get these franchises going that fell apart. It's gonna be great. Lastly, Sean Levy referenced that he saw the rumor that he'd be directing Secret Wars, and he said that, quote, "That's all I'm gonna say." That he saw the rumor. So this is a rumor that's been going around that Sean Levy's in line to direct Secret Wars. We said last week there's a rumor that Sam Raimi's in line. I would say any big name director who's anywhere near these types of movies is in line to direct Secret Wars. I still think the Russos, as their break glass in case of emergency.
Yeah.
I think they could bring the Russos back if they really wanted to. to direct Secret Wars. I still think they'll split Secret Wars into 2 parts.
I think they should.
Especially if their Kang clans are going to change. Because it did seem like Kang Dynasty was the setup for Secret Wars, but it did feel like you're doing Secret Wars in one movie.
Yeah.
Now they did that with Civil War to middling effect. It wasn't the Civil War we all knew from the comic books. It was a much more pared down version of it that was resolved quickly. Didn't last for years. And we saw it with like Secret Invasion, right? A big comic event that was kind of like a week in the life of Nick Fury with very limited consequences.
I think they listened.
Except so many people died.
A lot of people died. More than 177. But I think that there's a precedent that...
Definitely more. They said thousands in Russia. Sorry. Thousands of people died in Russia. And they said 2,000 people died, and that number could be 3 times as high. What?
Just off. But I think that I think Kevin Feige listens to the fans, and I think that there's an awareness of, hey, we've had these missteps. This had to happen. This had to happen. This couldn't have happened. So I do think... I don't know. I think Secret Wars getting split into 2 does clean up a lot.
Yeah.
And I think that you need to tell a lot of story, especially if you're going to clean up continuity.
And I think you're right that Secret Wars is their reset.
Yeah.
By the end of that movie, leading into Phase 7, everything will be different. Because that's what the comic books did. Let's talk about the comic books a little bit with Secret Wars. It was a way for them to be like, the comics had written themselves into, well, we've got Ultimates, and we've got Spectaculars, and we've got Astonishings, and we've got all these different universes with all these beloved characters. We love Miles Morales, but
we want to keep only him.
Yeah. He lives in a whole other ass universe that we don't want to keep going right now because it's a little confusing. So they said like all these incursions are happening. The Beyonders are trying to destroy the multiverse. We've got to save it. Reed Richards is like, I'm killing off a few multiverses. I don't feel bad about it to save myself. Reed Richards, bad dude. You've got the Illuminati, you've got the Cabal, you got Namor being like, I'll kill anyone, dog. Just put him in front of me. I'll strangle him myself. I'm Namor. I don't like you oxygen breathing losers. All that was going on, and by the end of Secret Wars, the 2015 run, they were like, "There's just one multiverse now." And DC did a similar thing, right, with the New 52.
Crises are common to DC, and Marvel has different universes in their own way. But I think Secret Wars is going to be a mix of both Secret War. It's comic storylines. So Secret War 1980 something was the Beyonder basically going like, I want to see who's more powerful, and it kind of plays chess with like superheroes and supervillains, and like Doctor Doom's a big presence, and he runs Battleworld. And then you've got the 2015 one where you have these incursion events, because basically in the year 2000, clean, like just the year 2000, Ultimate Spider-Man started, and it was originally supposed to be a miniseries, but it sold so well it became a series, and then it sold so well it actually is the longest running pair of any creator duo in the history of comics. Brian Michael Bendis and Mark Bagley did 166 issues straight. No alternate artists, no variables like those guys. So that's the longest run. Stan Lee and Jack Kirby did 165, and they beat it by 1. So 166 was the run.
Take that.
Deal with it, Kirby.
Take that.
So those guys did this run that was literally going to be a 5-issue miniseries, got expanded to the longest running duo, but it sold so well, it spawned Ultimate X-Men or Ultimates. But the problem was, it was basically telling the best of Spider-Man. So it was like, now that's what I call Spider-Man.
Running through.
So it was like burning through like greatest hits. So at some point, like you run out of those iconic stories. And it was doing a pretty good job making up its own, but it did feel like it was becoming the mainstream title. So it kind of lost that luster. So they had to end it. But unfortunately for them, they introduced Miles Morales in a spin-off called Ultimate Fallout. And then Ultimate Fallout is now gangbusters price-wise, because nobody expected the spin-off to have this giant character. But with Ultimate Fallout, they killed Spider-Man and Death of Spider-Man. That was right after Ultimate Fallout, but now you've got a character you love in the universe you're ending, so you've got to use the canon, and then Secret Wars are like, well, that thing did well. So the incursion events, I think they're going to do both, in that it's going to be someone, Kang, Doom, someone wanting to pit these guys against each other, but that's going to cause these universes to implode because of the events of Loki and because of the events of Deadpool 3. So I think these are, like, if it's a 3-act structure, Act 1 was introducing all these new characters in Phase 4. Act 2, the inciting incident, is the build-up to everything's imploding, which we kind of touched on in Doctor Strange.
Yeah, they mentioned incursions and their danger, and that's going to come back.
So I think we're going to see the actual danger in Loki and Deadpool, like more death, like cleaning out the Fox universe. And then Act 3 is going to be how you resolve it, all those things with Kang, with Secret Wars, and that big event. And then I think you just keep who you want. I think Shang-Chi could survive. I think Fantastic Four and X-Men could survive. But I mean, I think Captain America 4 is going to be the first big, like, iconic name brand. How well that does might be whether or not Anthony Mackie comes in. I think there's going to be a lot of, like, let's see what the numbers are. And they're going to see how that goes, because that's what I would do.
gonna be Harry Styles and whoever else can get in.
Oh my god!
That'll be
And Taylor Swift is Dazzler.
Dude, I want that so bad.
It would be really fun.
I've been like for years that's made. Also, we've been talking about Sean Levy for Secret Wars. Why don't we have the guy that does great buddy cop stuff with stuff like Real Steel, great father-son relationships like with Adam Project, and great young actor ensembles direct the X-Men? It makes so much more sense to have someone that handles like the 80s youth. Do a mall movie, like the mall episode of Stranger Things. Get my Jubilee on, in a mall, set it appropriately. I think Sean Levy would be the best X-Men director.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be fun. Or like they do another run of New Mutants.
Dude.
Like, you can do it. Yeah.
Generation
I think
X
they nailed New
90s.
Mutants. No notes. No notes. No notes.
You only keep Anya Taylor-Joy because of Secret Wars. You're like, and
I mean, listen, that's what I do.
You mentioned Deadpool 3 kind of setting up Secret Wars. This is kind of a rumor we've been hearing that it's going to play a big role. You know, we already heard Matthew McFadden will be playing like a TVA character. Was that official?
No.
Not official. Just a rumor.
Just a
They'll be
rumor.
playing like a TVA official. You know, Ryan Reynolds tweeting at the who knows who runs the
Miss Minutes account. Yeah.
You know, all that kind of weird stuff. How do you think Deadpool 3? Do you think Deadpool 3 could be setting up a Battleworld? Is that
I think Deadpool
is that what we
3 ends in
see?
Battleworld.
Ends in Battleworld.
I think that Deadpool's currently in the Fox universe, and I think he tries to find Wolverine, and I think in finding Wolverine, he finds dead Logan, and I think we literally see him encounter the Logan that ends, and that allows Hugh Jackman to feel like his Logan had integrity, which is really important, and I think it's a noble
They won't
to
fuck
do
with
that.
Logan.
Like,
Yeah,
let that continuity exist, and then he goes looking for a living Wolverine. I think we encounter a bunch of Wolverines. I think we're going to get, like, a feral Wolverine. We're going to get an in-costume
if
Wolverine.
we don't
we're gonna
get,
I think we're going to get...
if we don't get Alpha Flight Wolverine, just for a second,
I think we're going to get a...
show me him with Sasquatch.
I think
hanging
we
out
get a
with the
short
gang
Wolverine.
with North Star. Oh, a short.
I think we get a short,
hairy, round.
I think he might even fight Hulk, dude. I think we're gonna get some moments, like comic moments. So I think
I
he's
just
gonna
want a little Alpha Flight.
he's gonna jump around. He's gonna encounter all these
yeah.
Wolverines, and in doing that, I think he's gonna cause all these events that implode all of Fox.
Okay.
So I think in hunting Wolverine, that's the buddy
yeah.
cop aspect of he's dragging
Destroying
Wolverine along,
Fox.
and then
Yeah.
he
Oh,
can't
that's
get
funny.
over. And then I think at the very end, he either gets over to the MCU, or he knows about the MCU because he knows he's in a movie, knows he's in a comic, but Battleworld's where it ends.
Right.
So I think he can't quite get through, or something happens that pulls him into Battleworld.
Yeah,
and I think
it's-
all of this is with that Time Turner cable thing. So I
Oh,
think he's
right,
able to
yeah,
jump
yeah,
around
yeah,
because
the
he
thing,
literally
yeah.
goes through time and universes at the end of
Yeah.
Deadpool 2. So I think he's able to do stuff the TVA set up in Loki, and then that causes Fox to implode, which then causes him to end up in Battleworld,
Yeah.
either with or without Hugh Jackman, depending on if he wants to come back.
They should just make Deadpool like the main villain. Like he should become. He
I
should
think-
take the Doctor Doom role.
Well, this is Deadpool kills the Fox universe,
Yeah.
effectively, making him an accidental villain. Because I don't think he's
Yeah.
intentionally killing anyone.
Is it that bad to kill?
It's a...
We lost a few good soldiers, but
I need Taylor Joy. Yeah, I honestly think it's like a good second act structure to just make that, and that allows Deadpool to be a lead, which Ryan Reynolds deserves. That allows the box office of the first two Deadpools to show the strength of the character, and then if he wants to be in the next round of Marvel, it allows him to know he's in a comic movie, which means
Yeah.
he can bleep himself out in shared movies.
Right.
His movies can be R-rated. He can be PG-13. The character can be PG-13 in Avengers movies, and he'd break the fourth wall in a logical
Yeah.
way.
when he gets bleeped, he'll be
Like,
like,
right,
he'll be
yeah.
like, what the fuck was that?
Because he knows he's in the MCU.
Yeah.
It's a perfect way to solve continuity issues.
Yeah, the ending of this is like what the ending of Quantumania should have been. It's just him sadly stuck in Battleworld, waiting
Right,
for someone to pull him out.
Yeah.
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 Just chilling, just waiting.
I mean, on that theory, though, do you think there's a rumor over the weekend, and this is the one that I was excited about, of Daphne Keane coming
Yes.
back as X-23? So, like, Daphne Keane, the little girl from Logan, do you think we would see her as an older X-23 in
I think it's definitely possible. I
Yeah.
think with what they're doing, they're giving an actual like emotional send off. I think a lot of people
Right.
talk about how funny Deadpool is. The first one's super emotional. The first one's
Yeah.
very driven. It's a love story. So
Yeah.
I think you're gonna get more emotional payoff killing the X-Men this way than they ever got. Because I mean, we had like two Phoenix stories, both of one. And like we never really got an emotional send off for the X-Men. I think that like James Marsden deserves more than 30 seconds of screen time in this. I think that we deserve to have these X-Men get to die.
I watched those movies in full for the first time like last year.
Whoa,
Because
how
I
was
grew up
that?
catching
He's Gen Z. He's young.
Yeah. I grew up catching parts of them, and I got scared when Rogue like drained all the life from her
Yeah.
boyfriend. So I was like, I can't watch these movies.
Yeah,
It's
that's why you
scary.
hate women, right?
It all started in X-Men.
Never let a girl kiss you.
Yep,
She'll take
what
your
happens.
powers.
That's how they get
Anyways,
you.
it was so unbelievable that James Marsden was killed off so
Right.
early in that movie.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
This is an iconic
Cyclops.
character. Yeah.
It's insane. He's the leader of the X-Men over there.
Yeah.
And that's also what I hope Marvel doesn't do is like Wolverine. I wouldn't have Wolverine in the X-Men movies until about movie 3.
Till we get our Alpha Flight movie.
And then what I'd do is I'd do a Wolverine TV series.
Well, you do, or you have like X-23 play the Wolverine character for a while.
Well, I think no matter what, we should have let the X-Men.
No claws?
No claws. Have X-Men be the original 5 plus like Nightcrawler, Colossus, and Storm. So
do you want a fluffy snow?
I want a fluffy Iceman.
The snowman version.
At least
of
for a
Iceman.
joke. But I think you need to like learn those characters before it's Wolverine and the X-Men again. I think Bryan Singer made good mutant movies. I don't think he made a single X-Men movie.
Even Nicholas Hoult as like Beast. The feet and hands weren't big enough.
No.
You need weird looking Beast.
But I would do an anthology series on Disney Plus. Disney Plus. What you do is you do a Wolverine series, and each season is a decade in the history of Wolverine. And then by season 3, he's caught up to modern day, maybe season 4, and then you've gotten the love of the character, you've earned the long form Hugh Jackman replacement, and then you bring him to the X-Men, caring about him, and then it doesn't feel like it's Wolverine and the X-Men, it feels like Wolverine and the X-Men are finally teaming up, giving you an Avengers level moment without sacrificing either for the first time.
Make it like that Bob Dylan movie and have a different actor play Wolverine each time.
Daniel Radcliffe, Taron Egerton, Hugh Jackman.
Bring them all through.
I mean, there was that rumor, right? Daniel Radcliffe was cast for a secret role in this. I mean, you could say
in Deadpool 3.
Wait, what'd you say?
Wolverine variant.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
Gotta be.
Yeah, and Deadpool 3. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, he's got to be a variant.
If you haven't seen The Lost City, don't watch it. But watch the parts where Daniel Radcliffe is in, because he's having the time of it.
Dude, the Lost City trailer.
He's a great villain. He's a great villain.
Yeah, the Lost City trailer was so hype. And then I watched the movie. I was like, everything I wanted from this movie was just in the trailer. Are you kidding?
But Daniel Radcliffe kills in it. He's great.
Yeah,
I don't think he'd ever sign on for more than a cameo for a franchise, because he's very, very meticulously like, hey, I'm done being Harry Potter, I'm gonna do some weird shit. So I think this would be his way to do weird shit over there.
I like that. If Warner Brothers does commit to this Harry Potter TV show, like redoing the story, I say you bring Daniel Radcliffe back, but you make him Voldemort, dude. Let him. He's not tall enough. I get it. He's a tiny man.
Oh,
like, how fun would that be if he was Voldemort?
The boy who lived, come to die. Like seeing him say all the lines.
He gets to do all that part. He gets to be in the you're watching it's the first season. I assume a season will be the whole year, right? We finally get to the end of season 1. Professor Quirrell, they're taking the wrap off, and he turns around and it's fucking Daniel Radcliffe, baby. He's like, I'm back.
I'd love it.
I bet you'd love to do that. To play the other side of it.
That's how you get me.
How fun would that be?
That'd be
a little
great.
baby.
Yeah.
And Adam Driver's Snape, right?
Oh.
Like Adam Driver as Snape, but not doing a British accent.
No, it's just like himself. Adam Driver. He's like, that guy is Snape.
I've hated you all my life. I want to kill you.
It's just like the meme factor that is Adam Driver as Snape is perfect.
Yeah,
so
great.
Good. Just great. Are there any other multiversal cameos you'd want to see in Deadpool 3? If this is, it's going to be our multiversal movie. Yeah. We've already heard about people that are going to be in it, bringing back Jen Gardner as Elektra and stuff. Is there someone you really want to pull out of it?
I got him to agree on camera at a con.
Okay.
So, verbal agreement, he would do it. In 2001, Malibu Comics was acquired by Marvel Comics.
Oh, no.
There's a little movie called Men in Black, written by Malibu Comics, making Vincent from Men in Black a Marvel character. I want Kingpin to meet Vincent in the skin suit from Men in Black. I want Vincent D'Onofrio to get sugar and water.
Cat came in the other day.
I need that cameo. And he said he'd do it. So that's what I would do.
That'd be incredible.
I'd be down for that one. I mean, I've already said I want anyone from Alpha Flight. Right. Anyone from Alpha Flight to come out. But if you're gonna pull someone from like an old movie or something like that,
I think we're gonna get all the
Ryan Reynolds from Blade Trilogy to come back.
So much fun.
Blade Trinity. When I say Blade Trinity, I was saying Blade Trilogy. Trinity.
Blade Trinity.
I think you get all the almost casts, like Channing Tatum,
all of them. I mean, Channing Tatum as Gambit would be great.
So great.
Just be great.
So, and Taylor Kish back, just for fun. And then I think Idris Elba back, not as Heimdall, but as like that character who played in Ghost Rider. Oh my God. They just have like, what's Heimdall doing here? He's like, I'm a Ghost Rider.
I'm not Heimdall.
Sam Elliott on a motorcycle.
And then his son shows up with just a little head, and everyone's like, not again.
There were so many like greenlit X-Men movies when they were doing well, where they cast people. I want to see all of those guys get to be like for just a moment.
Yeah.
All of them.
And I honestly if The Flash could do what they did at the ending, like why can't this movie, right? Like they pulled in Nicolas Cage, who never played Superman, right? And they just, did they actually get him, or they just use his likeness?
I mean, they said they physically shot with him, but I don't know.
Yeah.
The press said.
The press said.
I would love if they somehow tied Legion into this. Like FX
man.
Legion, yeah. I only watched the first season and half of that show, and I want to get back to it and finish it, but like it would be wild to just be like, and there's Dan Stevens.
It's Aubrey Plaza, and then she does Agatha. Yeah, then she does like, oh, gotta be a witch.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, I think they can just do a big over-the-head shot, like a comic book, and just have all these cameos, like for a dialogue line.
Yeah. And then, Alex Reyes in the chat saying Chris Evans is Johnny Storm.
Seeing anybody that's almost inevitable.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, I think seeing that cast come back together would be great.
Yeah, for
Get all of them. We can get all of them.
Yeah.
I mean, Jessica Alba, she's doing well with her clean clean label brand of cleaning products, but she could use a little extra cash.
Yeah.
Do it for Deadpool. Do it for scale if you don't need the money.
For scale.
Well, that's it for us today. Make sure to subscribe to the Breakroom channel on YouTube, or give us a follow on Twitch, where we do these videos live, and you can be in the chat, and we do a little talking before and after. So check that out. Thank you, Evan and Coy, for joining us today. It's great to have you. And we'll catch you next time. Tune in tomorrow as we get into Ahsoka. Late, skaters. Goodbye.